Blackbeard's mother and Nico Robin are actually siblings. How did Sebek meet his wife? In the latest chapter of the manga, Blackbeard's mother was revealed. When fans of One Piece saw this, they all said the same thing, that she really looks exactly like Robin's mother, Nico Olvia. That's why many are asking, is it possible that the mothers of Blackbeard and Robin are siblings? So in this video, we will answer that question. And to start this topic, of course, let's first know the connection of Olvia and Blackbeard's mother. In chapter 1159, we found out that Sebek is actually a member of the Davy Clan. In fact, his real name is not Rox D. Sebek, but actually Davy D. Sebek. Their lineage, this Davy family, originally came from God Valley, and this is the reason why Sebek brought his wife and child there, because for him this place was safe. But in an unexpected event, it happened that Garling discovered the Davy family in God Valley, and this is the reason why the hunting tournament is being held here. So this is the first connection between Blackbeard's mother and Nico Olvia, the location, because as we all know, Olvia came from Ohara. And where can we find Ohara? Isn't it in the West Blue? Similar to the island of God Valley, which is also located in the West Blue, the next connection is related to Blackbeard. During SBS Volume 83, Oda mentioned that Blackbeard's hobby is gambling and researching history. Yes, guys, researching history just like the scholars of Ohara. During SBS Volume 88, Oda revealed the possible jobs of the worst generation if ever they weren't pirates. And what Oda put for Blackbeard was archaeologist, again, similar to the archaeologists of Ohara. So are these just the clues for us to say that it actually makes sense that Blackbeard's mother is related to Ohara and Nico Olvia? In chapter 393, during the time Olvia returned to Ohara, she was wearing a hat. Does this hat look familiar to you? Yes, guys, it is very similar to what young Blackbeard was wearing. Additional information about the possible connection of Blackbeard to Ohara. It is said that the country of England was Oda's inspiration in creating the island of Ohara. And surprisingly, Blackbeard's favorite food, which is cherry pie, was first served during the 1500s in England, which we can connect to both Blackbeard and Ohara. In short, because of these connections, plus the fact that we can clearly see Olvia and Blackbeard's mother look alike, there is indeed a high possibility that just like Nico Olvia, Blackbeard's mother also came from Ohara. Anyway, now that we've connected Blackbeard's mother to Ohara, let's now go to the connection of Rox D. Sebek. How did he possibly meet his wife if she was indeed from Ohara? As I mentioned earlier, as per SBS Volume 88, Blackbeard was supposed to be an archaeologist if he hadn't become a pirate. Is it possible then that his father Sebek was literally also an archaeologist before he became a pirate? Because we all know that Sebek went back and forth to Elbaf many times. And what is in Elbaf? The Harley text is there, that wall full of information about recent events in history. Could it be that Sebek's being an archaeologist is what brought him to Im-sama? Because in chapter 1155, we found out that Sebek actually went to Imu in the Room of Flowers. Now this makes us think, how did Sebek know Im-sama's location? Could it be that his study of history is what led him to Amu? In fact, we already have a hint here, because as per chapter 1159, Sebek revealed that he also had knowledge about his ancestors, and this was the Davy Clan. That's why I think Sebek's being an archaeologist was the path that made him meet his archaeologist wife, the one who looks like Nico Olvia. As to the question of how exactly they met, the possible answer is through Professor Clover. If you remember, before Clover stayed in Ohara to teach the scholars there, he actually traveled. He sailed around different places to study history, so it's possible that at some point Clover and Sebek crossed paths, and maybe it was on Clover's ship where Sebek met his wife. So the gist is that Sebek learned about the mysteries of the world, like what the meaning of the D is, what truly happened in the Void Century, and many other things with the help of Professor Clover. At some point in their voyage, they met. Clover revealed to Sebek that, in fact, there was a king of the world hiding inside the Pangaea castle. And to prove if what Clover said was true, Sebek attempted to climb Mary Joai's and enter Pangaea castle itself. And when he found out that all of Clover's words were true, that's when he decided to form the strongest pirate crew. To do this, he needed to create a game inherited from his ancestors. This was the Davy back fight. Through this, he was able to get the strongest beings in the world, and that's when the Rock's pirates were born. But in an unexpected turn of events, he would face Emu earlier than expected. God Valley Island became the stage of that battle, because Ganku was present at the God Valley incident, and we also learned during the Elbaf arc that Emu was capable of possessing Ganku. Then it's not impossible that this also happened in God Valley. Emu possessed Ganku, who then defeated Sebek. It's possible that before Sebek died, just like some other characters who also died, he gave a speech, and he shouted that the one who would defeat Emu would come from the D family, that the one with a D in the name would defeat Emu. This is possible because even during Whitebeard's death, he also mentioned this. And we know that Whitebeard and Sebek were close, so this possible defeat of Sebek at the hands of Emu might have been witnessed directly by Dragon. He heard Sebek's speech, and this became the fuel for Dragon to build his own group, the Revolutionary Army, a force directly opposing the world government. Anyway, in the aftermath of the God Valley incident, Emu got intel that Sebek did not learn all that information on his own. It's possible that someone gave this knowledge to him, like Professor Clover. That's why, 16 years after the God Valley incident, Emu attempted to erase Professor Clover along with the entire island of Ohara. So there you go. That's what I think is the timeline of how Sebek met his wife, who was from Ohara, and how everything connected to the characters who weren't even present at the God Valley incident. If you happen to enjoy our topic, don't hesitate to hit that like button, because your like is really a big help to our channel. And of course, don't forget the subscribe button, because